Oh, it's time for class.
Class is in session!
Roll call! Bueller.
I'm gonna be late for class.
Bueller.
Am I hallucinating here? Just what in the hell do you think you're doing?
I'm late for class.
You are mine now. You belong to me.
Did you study for the test?
No more complaining. No more Mr. Kimble to go to the bathroom. Nothing. There is no bathroom.
Welcome to Middle Class Film Class. I'm your host for today, Pete.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Joseph.
And today we're going to be reviewing a Patreon pick from the Wheel of Destiny from listener Joel. This is Robot Jocks.
Almost.
I like how war's outlawed.
Yeah. He's just reading this from IMDb.
John C. Reilly and this other guy.
Hugo Weaving. At the keyboard horns.
Yeah.
It's the tenth setting on my Casio.
Oh, now we're talking.
Ooh.
There we go.
Not to interrupt me when I do my kung fu.
Is that someone's grandmother?
Yeah. It's Dr. Ruth, actually. Dollar General Palpatine. What?
Howdy, partner.
I like the introduction of the characters.
My name is Athena.
Oh, what?
The song slaps.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Someone's just playing on the keyboard right now.
I know.
They're just like hitting the drums.
I think it's Trent Reznor.
Oh, yeah, and Atticus Ross who did
Yeah,
the...
and Atticus Ross, yeah.
This is pre 9 Inch Nails.
This is when he was recording Pretty Hate Machine.
This is a B-side that never got released. I'm gonna come. Wow.
What a trailer that was.
I feel like we just watched the whole movie at this point.
I'm gonna kick your ass.
Yeah, that's so Robot Jocks. It's certainly a movie.
Yes, it was.
This is a Patreon pick from Joel, our old pal Joel, who had us watch. Last one was.
What was the last one that?
I guess we'll have to ask him. I was gonna say Tank Girl, but that was listener Chris.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
And Joel just has fond memories of Tank Girl, so I don't know why I always associate.
I mean,
that
he
with
did
him.
at World's End or the World's End with
Yeah,
him.
he was our ambassador
Our
to the World's
shepherd.
End. Yeah.
Oh, that was fun.
Our
That was
our
fun.
Sherpa into the Golden Mile
Yeah.
bar crawl.
Sherpa.
I got Joel. He's ready to take a call from us. We're going to call him right now, and he can explain himself.
All right.
Hello?
Hey, Joel, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. You're live on the show.
Oh, am I? All right.
That's right. We're getting ready to review Robot Jocks. That's your pick from the Patreon list. And I know. First, before we get into this, can you settle a question for us? What was the last movie that we watched on your recommendation?
Oh, put me on the spot.
We can't remember. I was
Even
thinking,
he doesn't remember.
Yeah, I was thinking it was Tank Girl, but that was Chris, and you just like Tank Girl.
I just like Tank Girl. Was it Dead Alive?
It might have. I think it was.
Yeah, it might have been actually.
Yeah, I love that. What a fantastic movie
I think
that
it was. I think it was.
Dead Alive. So good.
Yeah, this is a departure from Peter Jackson. This is a robot fighting kaiju movie. And as you said in your message to me, Robot Jocks walked so Pacific Rim could run.
Mm-hmm.
Darn.
Yeah. So tell us about this movie, your relationship with it, and why we're watching it.
So this is it came out '89, and so this was like a movie that I don't even know when the first time I saw it was, but it's one of those like kind of cornerstone movies that you watch once when you're a kid, and then you keep watching them every couple of years, and they're just like really ingrained into your brain.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it like set the stage for me loving like the future post-apocalyptic movies and like how they depict society and everything that happens after whatever, World War III, zombie apocalypse, nuclear fallout, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And the setting for this one, I think, is so cool. World War III has basically happened. We've done what everyone feared we would do. We would nuke the world so badly that you barely can go outside without masks on. And they're like, hey, we can't have any more wars. This is horrible. We're going to completely nuke the planet into sterility. How about when I want a continent or I want a state, I'll bring my big ass robot and you bring your big ass robot, and we just go bash each other until we figure out who's the better badass robot driver, and then you get to keep Alaska. It's like, dude, this is fantastic.
It makes total sense. I don't know why we don't do this now.
I completely
we should
agree.
be doing it now. I mean, instead of, we could spend $1 billion on one big ass robot fight instead of $20 billion on months of horrible fighting.
Pointless wars.
But the problem is that in our world right now, war is still legal. It's illegal in this future.
How do we get all the governments to be able to decide that war should be illegal?
I like how the referees
I think you have to destroy over half the planet.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
It's the only thing that people are like, you know what, this really is. No one can argue anymore. This is pretty bad. Like, we've completely lost a continent. I don't know what's happening.
Now after Robot Jocks, you were ushered into, I'm going to say, probably Demolition Man, probably some Judge Dredd for the future apocalyptic sort of stuff.
Total Recall, Running Man,
and the aforementioned
Running Man,
Tank Girl as well.
Escape from New York,
Cherry 2000.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's young Melanie Griffith driving a Mustang lifted through the desert wasteland to go get a cyborg lover for some dude. It is bananas. It's awesome.
That sounds exciting. Yeah, no, this was interesting. I've never even heard this movie before. You sent it as a recommendation.
Yeah.
And it feels, and it's directed by Stuart Gordon, who did From Beyond and The Reanimator, and I feel like they were trying to do something big with it, and it didn't quite land fully all the time, but the ideas were really cool.
Agree.
And I think the stop motion aspect of it was like when it kicks in, you're like, ooh, that's neat. I want more of that. And then it's gone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that is true. I will agree. I want more stop motion animation, and it gives me like really serious RoboCop 2 vibes. Like when the robot's moving, you're like, oh man, like when he's really swinging around, you're like, it's just like the guy in that robot that got stuck in there. But yeah, like the miniature work I think is awesome, and then the way they portray scale, you really get the feeling that these guys, when they do like the kind of the background thing, but whatever, but it's like they're coming out of the elevator and you're like, dude, this robot is seriously a skyscraper. This is fantastic. I don't know, that it made me really feel like they were gigantic robots.
Yeah. And how old roughly do you think you were when you saw it for the first time? About?
Oh man, I couldn't even tell you. Probably like 8.
Okay. And your parents were like,
and this is because
your parents are thinking this is PG, so totally fine for an 8-year-old, and then they see the slaughter of hundreds of spectators.
It was funny. My movie upbringing, I'm pretty sure my mom was like, if it's sci-fi or action, ratings don't really matter. As long as you're not watching horror or romance, you're fine. So I've been watching R-rated movies since like I could basically walk.
Oh
so,
my God.
I think
interesting logic. I like that logic.
Yeah, I know. Right?
There is nude human beings though.
A little bit, yes, there is a little bit, but it's it's not fatal
it's not
instinct or
gratuitous
species.
Yeah. No, it's a complete departure for the stuff we watch. None of us have seen it. We are going in 100% blinds.
Does it still hold up for you, Joel?
Oh yeah, good question.
Oh, excellent. So my idea was when he asked.
Oh, damn it. I just accidentally hung up on
You
him.
hung up on him. We don't care what you think.
My bad.
Yeah, that's enough.
Sorry, my bad. I tried to wake my screen up and I hit end.
That'll happen. I understand.
So
So like when you asked me for the movie, we had just come off the fantastic episode where you guys reviewed An Unfinished Life, and I was dying. I think it's the best episode you guys have ever done. I was absolutely crying as you were massacring this poor man's childhood, just beating it senseless, describing it as poor missionary sex for reproduction only. I mean, every aspect of this movie got beaten. And I was like, you know what? I want to do that. I want to put my childhood on the line.
Okay.
I didn't rewatch it before I told you guys what movie I wanted. I was like, put it out there, and then I'll watch it, and then they'll watch it, and then we'll see what happens. But coming from that, I think it holds up. It's almost better than I remember, like watching it with a critical eye. It's a 3-star banger. I mean, like,
Okay.
it does some things not great, obviously, but to me it does one thing so well that everything else is forgiven, and that's pacing. Like, it's an 84-minute movie. And it's just, there's no just wasted time. There's not a lot of fat. It's moving along all the time. And you're never spending too long away from giant robot fights or fist fights or Russian one-liners. So you get in this nice string of things going along. Yeah, that's what I was like. It's good. This is tight. It's a tight movie. It's entertaining. Yeah.
Cool. We're gonna get into it now, and I guess we'll hear how we liked it once the show comes out.
Yeah, pull no punches. If you guys hated it, I want to hear you lay into it.
Okay.
Just,
All right, man. Hey, thank you for one. Thanks for the recommendation, and thanks for the support on the Patreon, buddy. We appreciate that.
Oh, of course. Yeah, no problem. I love you guys. It's a great show. I listen every week, so it's well worth it. I think I listen to more episodes of your guys' show than I use HBO Max. And so
That's cool.
maybe financially I should represent that a little bit.
Nah, man, I really appreciate it. All right, we'll talk to you very soon, and thanks again.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
See you later.
What a delight. Oh, Joel's a pal.
Yeah,
he is.
He's a real one.
A homie. He's a homeboy.
He's the homie.
He's
Yeah.
a homeboy.
I didn't even call him Proud Papa this time. I forgot. Yeah. All right, Robot Jocks. Let's get some brass tacks on this thing. This is from 1989. Is rated PG. Shockingly, this is coded as an action sci-fi thriller. In the distant future, mankind.
The year 2000.
Yeah, the year 2000, pre 9/11. Mankind has forsaken global wars for battles of single combat. The world has been divided into two opposing superpowers, with each side represented by trained champions. And then if you look down a little bit further into the synopsis, you see exactly the quote that was on the trailer.
Oh, yeah.
We were saying you're reading from IMDb or whatever.
Yeah.
Someone just pulled that quote and put it in there. But yeah, this is 50 years after nuclear war. So does it actually say what year it is?
I don't think it does.
I don't recall a year. I
Yeah.
just know it was.
So not only is there a nuclear holocaust, a nuclear destruction of the world,
Yeah.
but have more advanced technology than they did before the apocalypse.
So most of the world was destroyed, and now they're better off than before.
Let's not get into semantics here. Come
No,
on.
we're getting into semantics. So that's the long and short of the movie. This is directed by Stuart Gordon, as we said before. Also written by Stuart Gordon and Joel Haldeman. This is starring Gary Graham as Achilles, Anne Marie Johnson as Athena, Paul Koslow as Alexander, Robert Sanson as Commissioner Jameson, Danny Kamikona as Dr. Matsumoto, Hillary Mason as the old lady, and Michael Aldridge as Tex Conway.
Tex.
Yes. So,
Hey, little lady.
I watched this on Amazon Prime. Tyler, did you somehow figure out how to pay $5 for this?
No, I actually did. I did watch this on Amazon Prime as well.
Good, awesome. Why don't you give us your initial thoughts?
Oh man, this movie blew me away.
Really? Cool.
And I feel like I did a disservice for myself for not watching this movie sooner.
Had you heard about it before?
No,
Well,
I
then
had.
how would you know?
You felt like you were like part of your life was betrayed by not having.
You wish this movie came into your life sooner.
Correct. And
Nice.
I really I have an affinity for giant robots fighting each other and the society that giant robots are included in. I thought that, and Joel put it very eloquently, is that this movie does not have any fat. It just, the plot progresses more and more and more, and it's very simple. There's not any deviation from what the main finish line is supposed to be attained. And yeah, I was surprised.
Was any part of it disappointing to you, or is it start to finish a banger?
Oh no, start to finish a banger. Start to finish a banger. But again, I'm biased. I like animes that deal with large mechas and stuff like that. This was I would say an accurate representation of what those stories in my favorite animes portray. And so,
what can you give us some of those? Because the only thing that I know is Gundam Wing.
Okay, yeah, that's one, Gundam Wing, and then Robotech, and there's another one, I can't remember the name.
Robotech, that sounds like a fake name.
Robotech is not a fake name.
I'm not saying it is. It just sounds like it.
Fake name.
Evangelion. No,
Oh yeah.
Ring any bells?
Play the hits. Evangelion, Neon Genesis.
Evangelion is it's a little bit of a reach because this movie does not play on the philosophical aspect of manning these big robots. Like, they touch on it, but it's not like to the depth of Evangelion. But I really love this movie. I was entertained. There was a bunch of lines that I laughed at in sincerity, and yeah, it was a good movie. And it's not, a lot of people will take this movie and say, oh, it's so cheesy, it's so bad that it's good, but I actually think this is a solid movie.
Okay.
It is a solid movie.
Should we do a
Pre-grades?
Pre-grades again?
Oh, we're doing
Let's do it.
pre-grades again?
Let's just do it.
Yeah, solid A.
A for you. Okay.
Really?
Cool. All right, Joseph. What are your thoughts on Robot Jocks?
I did not enjoy this movie.
Oh no.
Because I thought it was I thought it was pretty boring, to be honest.
Really?
And save for like the campy, cheesy dialogue, the "I can't read but I'm not dumb" type lines, and the terrible set design. It's like less terrible set design and just cheap set design. Except for maybe the outside with the audience and like the robot fighting stuff. But it was more like hit where he was like sleeping. And it looks like they like take out a panel and you see the behind the scenes, like the rafters.
Oh,
really? That's what it looked like to me. I don't think it was, but that's what it just looked like.
Oh, during the fight scene when the wall gets knocked out.
Yeah.
And there's a grip back there. Oh, shit.
He's Okay. And it's just like a movie. It was like an attempt at a robot kaiju movie, a Risk-like board game with robots turned into a movie.
Oh, Risk. I never thought about that. Yeah.
Because they're trying to take over territories, and the way they decide that is just with single, like one-on-one robot fights. And they're trying to get Alaska, like, and it's, of course, it's a Russian who's trying to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, except for the cheesy dialogue and like the interactions, like the characters, like Tex and the female GMO'd person,
Tubi.
Oh,
the Tubies with
Tubies.
all of them have the curls behind their head.
Those are Padawan braids.
Yeah. It was, I don't know, I felt like it was uneventful to me. And the end of the movie, it made the rest of the movie pointless.
Why was that?
Because they're just like, we don't have to fight, we can live. And then
They give a thumb.
it took them that long to realize that. And then it ends with the thumbs up fist bump.
Yeah.
But yeah, humans are dumb.
But they didn't learn after the Holocaust, I guess. If you see, they learned the nuclear Holocaust, not the Holocaust. They were. I guess if they're simpletons and like none of them can read or write, because I think they even spell coward wrong.
Really?
They spelled it with an E.
Yeah, because they're illiterate, because they don't know how to
Because
read.
after he quits or retires, and then they like vandalize his.
But they know how to
lock.
engineer these huge robots.
Yeah, they have Matsumoto, who is
one of my favorite characters.
the genius behind the robot designs.
Maybe it's like they went back to the biblical days where only a small group of people were smart.
Oh yeah, Yeah, maybe. I
And
don't know.
everyone else is
Is that
just
what
a
happened in the
dum-dum.
biblical days? I didn't know. I don't know.
That's what the Bible is. Well, my interpretation of the Bible.
Oh, okay.
The main character, he looks like a combination of Billy Bob Thornton and Hugo Weaving.
That's true. That's so true.
And as far as like post-apocalyptic 80s movies go, this is pretty low tier. It's even Escape from New York is above this. And
Even.
yeah.
What's your
And-
beef with Escape from New York?
Huh?
What's your beef with Escape from New York?
I don't know, it's just not that entertaining.
I just wanted to trigger Tyler. I just wanted to hear you say it and hear him gasp.
Because that's also a slower 80s movie, like a slower 80s action movie when you have Snake Plissken as your main character. But it's Mad Max, you have Running Man, there's countless ones, like ones that are like not of like mainstream nature, but those are like the ones that I immediately think of, and which are much more entertaining for me. They're much more campy and funny. This one is just, I don't know. I couldn't tell if it was trying to be campy or if it was just campy as a result. When I'm watching 80s movies, I think that I'm trying to imagine myself on the set. We're making something serious, or we're in the 80s, so we're making an 80s movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Stuart Gordon, he made From Beyond and
The Reanimator.
Reanimator.
Yeah, he did a bunch of other stuff too, but those are the big ones.
And From Beyond is pretty ridiculous.
That one is ridiculous.
They're,
Way over the
they're,
top.
they're like, it's an insane movie.
I think he
And
was
do they-
serious with the Reanimator.
But do they know, or does he know? I guess I'm making an insane movie.
He's the only one in the dark.
I don't know. But yeah, this movie didn't. It didn't really do much for me. And the we'll get into the rest of it. But yeah, I was like not very excited about when I was watching this movie.
There's this it's science fiction author Joel Haldeman and Stuart Gordon wrote it together. And it says they wrote the screenplay for film and they co-wrote it together. But when they met, Gordon was hired to film a 4-part adaptation of Haldeman's novel, The Forever War. But when the funding project was cut, he instead directed a stage adaptation of the book, which he also wrote. It's like it's a very weird. There's a lot of back and forth about what the actual tone of the movie was supposed to be. So I think that's. Oh wait, there we go.
Yeah.
But for me, okay, I guess I'll get into my my thoughts on this. You mentioned the sets being very one-dimensional,
Looking cheap.
yeah,
cheap,
very
yeah.
cheap. The characters were just as one-dimensional as the sets were, which is saying a lot because it looked like they filmed this inside a Qzar or something. You're in the holding cell where you're supposed to get all your chest pack on and your guns, and you got the guy who's
Qzar,
just
wow.
got stoned on his lunch break, telling you, "All right, don't cover your
Giving you the
chest
rules.
pack. Yeah, no crawling, no climbing. You get kicked out if there's climbing on the walls.
No physical contact.
Yeah, no physical contact." And you start hearing the action.
Oh my god.
Action. Warning.
You're showing your
Warning.
age. You're showing your age.
And you're just in there and you're like, wow, this is the most advanced future world I've ever imagined.
Dude, I got lost in a Qzar once.
That phrase,
I have flashbacks.
that's the least surprising phrase I've ever heard you say.
I got lost in a Qzar.
So it's like they took like if they designed Star Wars, the set for like the interior of the spaceships for Star Wars.
Okay.
And someone goes, "Nah, that doesn't look good enough. We'll huck it in the dumpster." And then Stuart Gordon came and grabbed it and said, "We'll make a movie out of this. We can make good stuff out of this."
Yeah, Kramer found
The Mike Douglas show.
the Merv Griffin.
Oh, is it Merv Griffin?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
he builds a whole set in his apartment.
So
Hosts a game show
The
in
oth-
his apartment. He does.
okay, Tyler, thank you. So the other thing that I think is weird about this is that the one line plot, like I was pumped when I heard what it was.
Yeah.
We have 2 remaining superpowers after this global fallout event, right? And they're fighting these robots over control. I didn't think about it, but much like Risk, my beloved Risk, my favorite game of all time.
That's your favorite game?
I love it.
Okay.
I love it. And I love it mainly because it bleeds into the real world.
Okay.
When's the last time you played it?
The last time Brianna vowed never to play with me because of what I did to her.
You destroyed it. You destroyed our nations.
Explicitly said.
I would love to play another game of Risk with you guys. the girls won't play.
No.
Deanna gets too angry. She already didn't. She removes herself.
Yeah.
Brianna vowed to never play Risk with me again
Swipes all the pieces off.
because I told her stay out of Australia. I'm gonna start in Australia. All you have to do, put your pieces anywhere except for Australia. First thing she puts, Papua New Guinea.
Oh my god.
I'm like, I got to kill your person now. I'm sorry.
Look what you done. Look what you made me do.
Look what you've done. I don't want to do it. You made me do this to you. And then for the rest of the game, she was creating alliances to destroy me. Anyways, so this was very risk-like, but the idea of we're going to have Russia and America fighting over Alaska with giant robots.
Hey,
like,
that's not explicitly said though.
but that's the idea in the plot.
He has
right?
he has a Russian accent. That doesn't mean that he's Russian.
I understand that. Thank you for being on the side of the comrades, you fucking commie. The point of the matter is, when I heard about it, I'm like, this is great. They could explore so many cool ideas with this, but they never get into really much of it. It's here's a fight, and there's a little bit talked about how this is the only person to ever get 10 fights in a row and win all 10 fights or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is much like Gamer. If you win, or Death Race 2000.
You get set free.
Yeah, you get
something
set
like that.
Yeah, it's
out
like
of your
something.
contract. And so there's a little bit of whispers of that. But also, when do they decide? You're just like, hey, I want Alaska. And you can just say that anytime you want. You're like, hey, give me Fresno. Well, let's fight our robots over it. I want Colorado in the center of your
All
country.
right, we got to fight for it.
Got to fight for it. And can you only do that like once a year?
Yeah, and does it work like Risk, where it's like they can just come in? We want to challenge you for this territory.
Exactly.
For Bakersfield.
Exactly.
For Bakersfield.
And then they're like, we're going to take Florida. And we're like, that's right. We'll just have it.
You can just have it.
Just take that. So there were so many cool things that could have been explored with it, but instead it's like you just get this ominous, kind of crappy prototype Russian antagonist. Like, he doesn't have any motivation. He doesn't have any character traits besides that he just laughs a lot.
He's Drago.
And he stomps, and Drago's so much better than this fucking
I
guy,
know.
than Alexander. And what I do like about him is that when you're introduced to him, he's literally crushing a helpless person as the guy is, no,
I can't feel
don't
mine
do
back."
it. He's like the Fly at the end of the original Fly, where help me. He's stuck in the net. He's a little tiny fly in comparison to the giant robot foot, which is crushing him.
Yeah.
And it's fine. He could have been a better character. Tex was fucking terrible. Every opportunity to mention that he's from Texas, he's of course talks with the Texan accent. His name is Tex. He's wearing a goddamn cowboy hat.
Bit racist.
Yeah, he's very, very much racist. Doc Takamoto, or whatever his name is.
And I don't want to stomp on
Go
your
ahead.
thoughts, but
Go ahead.
and the whole like he talks about the fight that he was in, and then he found the weak spot.
Yeah.
But how would you know? There must have been a spy or something. Like, not suspicious at all.
No, it is so obvious that he's
Someone on the inside.
Yeah, it's so obvious that he is a total douchebag prick bastard, and everyone's, who could the spy be? in Texas,
Well, it's certainly not me.
yeah. Oh, definitely, we should keep our eyes open for the spy. Yeah, for the spy. And then when I'll keep going into the plot,
I know,
but when they're talking about how they're gonna not show the new weapons features to everybody,
Yeah.
he's the only one that's mad about it.
I know.
And no one's surprised that he's a spy. Wait a second, Tex! The one who said, you need to show me the weapons footage now?
But how would they know what to do? How to use them?
I know.
I audibly said, I was like, oh, not Tex.
I was shocked by that.
Not Tex.
No.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
So the other thing too that disappointed me was like the Star Wars comparison. It popped up a few times. It reared its head for me. It looked a little bit like the Battle of Hoth. When the robots were fighting, and it has some really cool scale and some really the miniatures, large scale miniatures, and the stop motion aspect of it was pretty cool. But maybe it's just the simple fact that I do love Pacific Rim. I think it's one of the funnest,
It is.
insane, over the top, high concept movies that you can make, and the fact that GDT decided to put years of his life into that movie is just boggles my mind, and I respect him for it because he could have been making so many interesting other products, and he's not. I'm going to make a giant robot fighting kaiju movie.
And it just works. It works.
And it works, but the speed and the intensity of the fighting in that feels so heavy. And when Alexander's robot kicks on the old punchy machine,
Yeah.
and he like holds it next to the other robot's head, and it's just like donk, donk, donk,
I know.
Donk,
I didn't
donk.
think it was making that much damage, and then I saw the person.
Person
and
inside.
they're really hurt.
Yeah, they look like like the kid at the birthday party on the trampoline that everyone won't stop bouncing around. Stop it, guys! I'm getting seasick. It's like that was the level of damage that was happening to the person inside, and the whole thing was just it was pretty rough. All that being said, not the worst movie I've ever seen. I still had some fun stuff to it, but thank Christ it was only less than 90 minutes because I had a spy photo taken of me while I fell asleep in the final act of this movie, and Brianna posted it on social media.
Oh no.
I had to go back and rewatch the final scene because I lost steam, and I did fall asleep near the end and had to rewatch it. That final scene though was pretty delightful. Seeing the robot with the like spider legs was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that's where I come down on it. You said what was your pre-grade on it?
Oh, I didn't give it. I mean, I don't know, like a C minus.
As I was gonna say, I probably C minus or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's not. I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was like bad. I just didn't enjoy it, and it was of the post-apocalyptic '80s movies or '80s future sci-fi movies in general. This is very low.
Yeah. If you go on IMDb, I was expecting they have the more like this section. It'll tell you like kind of like if you like this movie, you might like these other ones, right?
Yeah.
And I was expecting the Demolition Mans and the Tank Girls and the post-apocalyptic sort of stuff. We didn't get that probably because I guess they don't really spend a whole lot of time really talking about that aspect of it. It's more about the robot fighting. Mm-hmm. But you get stuff like Arena. It's like a monster, alien monster fighting a human. Oh. Or Cellar Dweller, Robot Wars, The Dungeon Master. None of these are over a 5.0 IMDb rating.
What is this one sitting at?
This one is at, let's see here,
I think it's
5.4.
Oh, okay.
5.4.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. I thought it was 5.7
Yeah.
for some reason.
Crash and Burn looks like another robot fighting movie. Space Truckers. And
Space Truckers.
I think, Robo Warriors, 4.7 on IMDb.
These are all must be dynamite movies.
Yeah. Here's the Robo Warrior synopsis. The year is 2036, and the Earth has been invaded. Hope lies with the last Robo Warrior, a towering fighting machine. Yeah. Oh, James Remar is the star of this one. That's funny. Anyways, that's the kind of like level of movies that this is on. It doesn't have that like staying power or the classic appeal that something like a Demolition Man might have.
One thing I will say though about the whole community of people who are fans of big mechs, because there's tabletop games involving big mechs, video games. There's a whole plethora of
Transformers.
Transformers. Yeah, exactly. Is that the quality of media that has to deal with mechs and like big mechs and like post-apocalyptic societies does not matter. As long as you have a big mech and you're fighting other big mechs,
So is
what could go wrong? It's like Godzilla almost.
Yeah, I thought about it. I don't know if I would enjoy the older Godzilla movies because I've already
They're campy, they're fun.
seen the new ones and how cool those can be.
I think it's kind of how the horror community. You have people that are modern horror appreciators, and then you have the horror hounds that will watch literally any dumpster fire, piece of shit, dollar basement, bargain bin movie, Return to Bloodfart Lake.
I think I could equate it to as it being a hobby, much like
Movie watching is a hobby,
Yes, it's like a specific type of
like a subgenre.
like coin collecting or something like that. I'm not saying that watching dumpster fire movies is like coin collecting, but
I think it could be because
it's the same like attitude towards it. And with this, in regards to this movie,
Gotta catch them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Like I just have to watch all of these. I feel the need and I want to watch all of these shitty horror movies because I just enjoy them for some reason.
Yeah, I agree with that. And when I have a couple friends that are like that, they really they pride themselves on watching the absolute worst movies, and it's almost like a point of pride. Oh, have you seen this shitty movie? Yeah. Oh,
You
yeah.
haven't seen that?
Oh no, it's usually not like a surprise or anger sort of thing. It's almost let me show you. I've already waded
Let me
through.
introduce you into my world.
Yeah, let me show you Pocket Ninjas.
It is interesting.
God damn it!
because
you just had to bring up Pocket
while you have
Ninjas.
those people who like they like watching like campy, shitty movies or whatever, and they know that they're shitty. Then you have the people who are like, why would you waste your time watching those shitty movies? Like you're intentionally watching, you're seeking out terrible movies to watch. And it's like those are extreme examples. And then there's people in the middle. I'm like, I like watching shitty movies from time to time, going into it knowing it's going to be a shitty movie.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's actually really bad.
It's all about the experience, though.
Or what you're looking to get out of that movie watching experience just for the day.
Yeah.
Because I don't always want to watch a really depressing movie, but sometimes that's just what life needs for me. I need to watch Come and See.
Wait.
You know?
Oh my God.
But not every day. I'm not ready to do that after I got
hard watch.
Yeah, after I got off.
Yeah, it's a specific feeling.
I got off work after a long shift. I'm like, I'm just gonna go and watch Come and See. I got to be ready to get a good Saturday.
I couldn't even imagine.
It's like when you're sad and you listen to sad music because you like
That's it.
You just want that feeling to be embellished more. You feel like there are times where it's like I feel like I want to cry at something, and I'll put on whatever.
I'll put on Mama by Boyz II Men.
Yeah.
But for this movie
Just have a
specifically,
good cry to think about my mom.
for this movie specifically, though, I actually thought this was a legitimately good movie. The story was just really tight. I
took a day off to watch this movie.
I did not. I actually thought the story was tight. Although I can acknowledge that there's some illogical stuff going on around. I mean,
I don't need it to be 100% logical either in a giant robot fighting movie.
yeah, but the fact that they mentioned that most of society is
Decided they're
illiterate
against war.
Yeah.
War is illegal. Who's enforcing this? Who's enforcing this
what happens
law?
What happens if a sovereign nation invades another nation and you're like, that's against the law. You can't do that.
What's the parameters of
It's actually
conflict?
It's actually a fantasy movie because in no fucking world, in no world, are humans deciding that is everybody on the same page?
Yeah.
That that's fine. We'll just be two sides of the world, and
how
we're
do
just
they
gonna have one-on-one robot fights to determine who gets what.
There was many deaths that happened.
How did they come up with just two also?
I don't know. To make it less complicated.
That's so true.
So instead of hundreds of thousands of people dying in war, they just have one potentially.
That's
Yeah.
like the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
I guess so.
The most realistic thing about the whole movie,
This
though,
is the framework for the Hunger Games.
yeah, the most realistic thing about the entire movie is when they go into space.
Oh my god.
And it goes,
I'm flying.
and he's up in the stratosphere, and the explosions make no sound. We're like, cool. They're committing to the science of no explosions. The sound
like
of
that.
explosions in space.
I like that.
That's interesting. This very realistic movie.
Yes.
At least that is consistent with real life.
I think I gotta be with Shinneman on this one. We should just have 1-by-1 trial by combat to settle all of our differences.
In
Like
an ideal world where people would agree wholeheartedly on that idea.
Exactly. In an ideal world, we would just be battling each other one by one, and that would be it.
Ideally.
Yeah.
But-
Ideally.
And we would have giant robots designed, and we'd put millions of dollars into that, and hopefully also have socialized healthcare and education. Actually, there's no education in this movie.
It could save money just by only educating a few people.
And then they genetically they create test tube babies, and
What's the point of the tubies?
Because they were trying to create the perfect warrior.
they're just designed for one thing.
for fighting.
But then they don't even let him in the fucking robot.
I know.
Because they have
they're
Achilles.
They're bred for fighting, and then they use a normal, natural human.
What's interesting? Why don't they have like multiple matches? It feels like this is just one annual match.
It's not like the playoffs where it's like the best out of 7,
Yeah, exactly.
or until someone dies.
It's not like a league of anything. It's just
Also, how do you become a ref?
okay.
I would have loved to see Ed Hockley out there.
This is what I wanted to get into. So, are the referees like the Supreme Court of the world?
Yeah,
Like they
the
get
grand
to decide,
jury.
They get to decide. I don't understand it. I don't understand it, but I love it. I love it.
I liked that the referees were trying to like argue that Achilles isn't in the robot. That's not our problem.
I like how they dress the refs.
Yeah.
too.
I
Like,
know.
classic
They have their little
refs.
ships that come in. Like the Jetsons.
Yeah, it was very Jetsons like.
Like, why are they a referee? Like, why is there refereeing in this combat to death?
I didn't.
Got to be some rules.
He didn't get a penalty for smashing that man in the beginning of the film. Like,
Yeah, you
I
think
mean,
it would have been outlawed.
What are the rules? Can you kill?
Clearly, they don't care.
But there
I
are
don't
certain,
know.
there are certain limitations. No more missiles. No more lasers. No more long distance weapons. Just hand-to-hand combat now.
It was weird. It was weird that they outlawed that at some point. They're like, okay, now no more ranged weapons.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
he shoots
no
a
more.
fucking fist at him.
I know. Does that count?
Yes, that's a ranged
That's
weapon.
what I thought.
That's
Well,
a ranged weapon. That's illegal.
if you recall, they went to trial for that.
hell are you talking
That's a ranged weapon.
But now, no, they went to trial for a different reason. And
No,
this-
they
Yeah,
went to trial.
No. The trial was
this-
for the death.
And this is what I want to. One of the things I wanted to bring up.
Oh, okay.
The inciting incident is when he jumps in front of the hand, and then all those people die.
Yeah.
When I feel like less people would have died if he just let the
Absolutely.
hand.
Absolutely.
He crushed all of them with his body.
And the fist was only so big, but
I know.
the size of the robot that
And-
fell on them was much bigger.
It was as big as the bleachers.
No, it wasn't.
No, I mean but essentially it was the robot was.
But also, they have a protective barrier on them because they were like shooting missiles and stuff and lasers at that barrier while the people are watching through that
But
wall.
they signed a release.
I know that, but that's irrelevant because
Now you sound like the jury.
what I'm saying is that
Guilty.
I feel like there would have been a lot less casualties
If you just
and
let it
not
go.
300 people dying. He crushed all of them when he fell back,
Mm-hmm.
and it had a totally opposite effect of what was intended.
This is the trolley experiment all over again. you
Oh
know?
my god.
All right, you're standing on a bridge and there's a giant robot fist. It's flying at 300, 1,000 spectators. Do you jump yourself in front of it? But there's a chance that you might kill more people.
Yeah, and the wrist.
Achilles says,
You
yes,
don't
I
know.
do.
And what the other one is like, the wrist might kill the same amount of people.
You have to understand, he was the man was concussed. He didn't know what he was in he wasn't even in his right mind. He
At that point,
So
No.
put him in jail then.
he was concussed.
Put him in
and
jail then. You're just allowed to murder people when you're concussed?
Murder is premeditated.
I don't
This
care.
was accidental death. He was trying to be a hero. He failed
Now you sound like
horribly.
now you sound like a Marvel's apologist when they destroy the whole city. On that topic of that destruction of those people.
Mm-hmm.
This is a song from Nine Inch Nails. It's funny enough we brought up
Trent Reznor.
Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross.
Oh,
because
no way.
This is a song from Nine Inch Nails called "The Becoming," and they used the sampling of the destruction.
That was a good drop, right?
Yeah,
That was good.
that's the people being crushed by the robot.
They used those. Oh my god.
Is it actually
That
from
is-
this movie?
It is actually from this
They
movie.
sampled that.
Yes, they sampled that scene to make the song.
Really? Wow.
How serendipitous. Wow.
Yeah, I read that in the trivia. I'm like, no fucking way.
We already made the connection before we knew.
And I played the clip. It was reading the trivia as that scene was happening.
Oh, really?
I read it before the scene happened. I'm like, damn, somebody gets crushed to death in this? 300 people get crushed to death?
Yeah.
And the scene came up and I just listened to the song and I'm like, okay, let's see if it is. And you can hear it's absolutely them moaning as the people are destroyed.
Oh my god.
And then they have that shot like they're doing the news report, and you see that person who had like their face melted off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That was really brutal. That
Yeah.
was really brutal.
I don't
And
know
it's
how
all
that-
his fault. They should have just let the wrist hit the. I feel like he could have punched the wrist. It was
that would've
moving
been better.
slow enough.
Yeah.
It was moving slow enough.
Yeah, it was.
Let me ask you guys this.
Okay,
though.
yep.
Would you ever pilot a giant robot?
I don't think I would.
No.
I don't know.
No, I don't want to be inside the robot. It's not nimble enough for me.
If it was.
I still no.
Okay.
No.
No. I want to be on the team that's back at HQ. Use the chainsaw gun. You know?
Oh my god, I would have to pilot the Eva then.
Why?
And then you guys would be.
Whoa! You didn't get my answer.
Yeah. What's your answer, Joseph?
It depends on the size of the robot. I think I'd like to do the I can't remember the show, but where they all assemble into one robot. Like one of their ships become the arms, and then they all
Power Rangers?
Is it Power Rangers?
Yeah, Power Rangers does that.
I think there's probably another show that does that too.
Yeah, there's a couple of them.
Zoids.
But yeah, I'd want to do I want to be a part of a team inside of a robot where all your ships just combine together to create one mecha.
Yeah.
One
And
mech.
I think there's a lot of really interesting ideas that are presented in this movie.
Voltron is the word, is what you're looking for. The iconic giant robots formed by 5 smaller robots. The process of Voltron's formation involves the individual smaller robots known as the Lions coming together to create a powerful unified entity.
Yeah, they're like animals, and then they turn into they combine.
I remember the scene, but the one I'm thinking of in my head is Power Rangers because they have the running of the giant Zord, and then they all come and they lay down together, and then the whole thing picks up as a giant, bigger robot.
Yeah. I like the idea of Joseph being at the head of the robot, and he's like, HQ, who's on my left arm? Oh, it's Commander Tyler. And he's shit.
I'm just going to detach that arm.
Detach.
I don't think he can work that. Anyways, no, but
So that's what you would do?
I'd want to be a part of a team, but all inside the robot.
Team effort.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think it's weird about those is that it's always coincidentally
Like Star Trek.
The monster size of a Power Rangers, the size that Rita Repulsa blows her one creature up to is exactly the same size as the giant Megazord.
yeah.
It's never 10 times bigger.
Yeah.
Or the Megazord is never 10 times bigger than the monster. They're the same size.
Yeah, they're always the same.
Same height.
Very convenient, don't you think?
Yeah, very
Almost like it's a written, scripted show.
Maybe so. I think this.
Is this real life?
I think this movie presented a lot of very interesting ideas regarding.
Is this real life?
Regarding the future of humanity and specifically the to-be babies. I thought that was a really interesting idea. And I feel this could be a show that would be very interesting, compelling enough.
I feel like there are shows like this.
Oh, you making it into a series?
Yeah, make it into a series because the ideas are so big, you can't put it into an 84-minute movie. That's one of the reasons why I that would be one of my criticisms of this movie is because of the introduction of big ideas, but I feel they did it very eloquently enough to where you could get it and you can infer what's happening. And
I can see it. I can see it being good fodder. Like I said, the one-line synopsis of the robot, two nationalities, federations fighting over different territories with giant robots. There's a lot that could be unpacked there, but
I think
maybe the problem is that in 1989 the technology wasn't there to make this a
they were
believable
too ahead of
fight.
their time. They were too ahead of their time. I think there's some things that could be worked out though. Instead of having a Hunger style game sort of plot, it could there could be something there. But I enjoyed myself a lot, and
What was your favorite weapon, Tyler, of the big robots?
The green laser.
The green laser. Which one is that?
The green one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was
Got it.
It was the green laser that comes out of his...
laser.
Oh, father, kill your laser.
It was the
I
secret...
fucked that quote up.
It was the secret weapon. It was the secret weapon.
Oh, you're talking about the phosphorus bomb or whatever?
No, that I love that one too. But no, the green laser, it was supposed to hit the...
Could they have tried just a little fucking harder on the inside of the cockpit of the robots?
Oh yeah, you know
on the
what?
wall behind them, it's 100,000 switches, like the inside of a NASA spaceship, which is cool. There's a billion stuff, and there's one tiny moment which is hilarious to me when Athena gets knocked out and Achilles climbs in. And he comes down and he's passing a wall after row after row after row of switches, and he passes by one and goes flip, and then keeps moving. And then he gets to Athena, but that looks good on itself. But then when he goes, the phosphorus, first off, the phosphorus bomb is many times brighter than our sun.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's what he says. And then he goes, it's hidden on the switch next to the sun icon. And he looks at the controller.
It's like
and
an origami sun.
Yeah,
like-
it's a big ass like construction paper like yellow star around one button. And the continuity of what he told her to do didn't work at all. He goes, turn the opacity on your blaster screen up to the max by turning the yellow knob to the left all the way. And then when I thought she was going to blind herself because when she fires the weapon, she just puts her shield down and then blasts.
Yeah.
The continuity wasn't there. Again, this could never happen.
So what I didn't like about the story is so he accidentally kills all those people. He goes to court and then he quits because he says, I completed 10 fights. And no, you didn't finish 10 fights. It was a draw. I don't care. 10 fights is 10 fights. So he quits, he retires, he turns into an alcoholic for a night. And then they do the trials for the Tubies where Athena then proves herself to take the helm. And then he gives her advice, I think, before that. But then he comes back and he replaces her again. And then they have this off on. She's mad at him. She likes him. She's mad at him, and then they're fighting, and then they're about to have sex, and then they're making out, and then they're fighting again.
The only reason he came back was because he didn't want her to get killed.
I guess so.
But there's besides the fact that he wants to bang her, he makes it apparently clear when what was that line he says?
Oh, he says because
talking about.
So the old lady comes in, the grandma Tubi comes in. And she's we need your DNA to create more warriors.
Both of us too. You Tex, you too.
Tex, you too.
Because Tex already completed his 10 fights.
And I'm like, do you need that? Can't you just use blood? Why do you? She's like, here, come in these cups. And
and
we're gonna use him to breed more warriors.
Oh my god.
When it's like you're not even using any of them, they're all just standing back there fighting each other.
Yeah, they look like the background characters in like Austin Powers or something like that. They're just in those like white unitards.
Well, they're just backup.
And he says something about skipping the middleman or something.
Skipping the middle, can't we just skip the middleman and go right to a direct deposit?
Yes,
but that doesn't make any sense because he'd be having sex with a test tube baby.
With a tubie, yeah.
Which then would.
It doesn't make sense. But that's the only time that he ever expresses any sort of interest in her is just, ooh, she's kind of hot.
I want to bang her.
I want to bang her. And then
she's a looker.
And then after he's in his cups and he's back home with, I guess that's his mom or whatever. Auntie, whatever.
No, it's his brother's wife.
Okay, so it's his brother and his sister-in-law.
Yeah.
And he's there, and then he realizes that it's Athena who's going to fight. He goes, I can't have that happen. She can't die on my watch.
I have to have sex with her.
Yeah.
And then the whole, the Tex storyline where he's confronting Matsumoto, and then he kills him.
Yeah.
Because...
I thought his gun to his own head was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I love that scene.
And Matsumoto's like, I'm about to die, so I'm just going to hit record on this security camera go real quick.
Very smart.
But then,
very smart.
But then when he's found out, he's, you ain't never going to catch me. And then he fucking jumps out the window and just kills himself.
He goes, we'll see you in court. He goes, no, you'll see
You'll
me in
see me in
hell.
hell.
And he just kills himself. It's like a homage to what's that one classic movie where the guy with the cowboy hat, he's on the bomb and he's like
Dr. Strangelove. Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. It reminded me of that.
I guess a little bit.
An 80s shitty version.
The funniest thing that I saw the whole movie that made me out loud laughed heartily. It was when he's having dinner with his brother and sister-in-law, and she goes, "We're having a real meat tonight." And they open the pot; it's just a sausage.
The hot dog
floating. It's like
hot dog and chili.
Yeah.
I'm like, just have a single whole hot dog just floating in the middle like a turd in the toilet.
That was the best.
That was my exact thoughts.
That was the best use of world building in the whole thing because that's their delicacy of meat. I'm like, man, what a future they're in.
Hot dogs.
Those poor bastards.
We're having hot dogs tonight.
Yeah,
I did like in their set of their apartment or whatever it is. They have a separate spaced off room that's like a little mini library with a desk in it. There was all glass walled. I thought, that's pretty cool. That looks pretty futuristic.
Yeah, it was like his workspace.
I like when he wakes up for a hangover, he immediately wants orange juice.
Yeah.
And he gets pissed.
Who doesn't?
No orange juice.
It's the worst thing to drink after a hangover.
No, it
More
is.
sugar.
Yeah, it's a puke inducing.
Yeah.
I like how he opened his fridge and it's just like all beer. And I think there's a carton of milk or something. And I'm just like, yep.
But yeah, and then the end of the movie again is
Oh
just
fuck, the worst. I couldn't believe how that ended.
it's so stupid.
Alexander, we can be friends.
We can live.
And they do the
Crash and burn, baby.
the most uncomfortable thumbs up fist bump, and
know.
then the credits roll.
Yeah, that's literally the end of the
It's-
movie.
Yeah.
That whole scene of them fighting, it feels very long because they're like fighting on the ground. They go into space. They come back. The robots get destroyed, and then they're fighting hand to hand combat like Spock, not Spock, Khan.
Yeah, Con.
Captain Kirk and Khan. or
Yeah,
whatever.
Kirk and Con. Yeah.
I don't know. It was just, and then he picks up the rock like a caveman, and he's wait. How about this?
How about instead we're pals?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
When you get to the ending, what are you expecting? Like
A good ending
it-
instead
that-
of what we got.
That is a good and satisfying ending.
No, it's not. It makes the rest of the movie pointless.
Yeah, but
What?
Come on, come on, what?
Come on,
come
what?
on.
Come on.
It's
Behold me.
It's what?
A reincarnation of the Buddha of the Golden Grain.
It's what? What is it?
it's a very simple, dumb, stupid movie. Are you expecting a philosophical, meaningful ending for a movie
I'm
that
expecting,
when you
I'm expecting
when
a
you
better
already-
ending than that.
What? Okay, so let's go
This-
around the table right now. What ending would
At
you
least,
would
at
have-
least Alexander, he gets killed.
Yeah, that would be good.
that's it? Just getting killed?
Yeah, and they're like, we have Alaska now
Yeah. I mean,
because it's
I
all
was
for Alaska.
I was satisfied with the ending. It just meant
Yeah. Love that.
When I was like,
yeah, no, it doesn't make sense. But the whole movie doesn't make sense. I just suspended my disbelief of logic throughout this whole film. And what is that?
That's David after dentist.
Okay.
oh, what the heck?
Uh-oh. What's going on over there?
It's open to iTunes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's I feel like the script was one pass. They literally they wrote it and then shot it immediately.
We don't have time. We got to do this right now.
Oh, they had time. Their hubris allowed them to do just a single pass on it.
Makes sense.
And I know that there's in the trivia there's a lot of stuff about like people arguing back and forth about the tone of the movie. But one of the writers wanted to make it very more fun and exciting and actiony, and the other one wanted to make it more sci-fi-y. It's like more scientifically accurate. So I think what we got was somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
And going back to our conversation about seeking out like the worst of the worst movies, I don't think this is anywhere near that level of bad. And I don't think that that's Joel's thing. I think it's just that if you watch this when you're 8, it's a fantastic movie.
Okay, so it's like a nostalgic sort of thing.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. It could be a nostalgic sort of thing. And I've seen way far better movies that broach similar themes from that decade, from decades since. So watching it again, you're like, they were trying. They were trying. I mean, they didn't succeed, but they were trying. So, you know, I won't begrudge anybody for making this movie. And there's little glimpses of fun stuff in it, but all in all, it's pretty rough.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys want to grade it?
Final grades?
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah, final grades.
Tyler?
You still at an A?
Yeah, still solid A. I love this movie. Thank you, Shinneman, for allowing me to experience this movie. Unfortunately, I experienced it too late in my life to appreciate it. However, I'm glad I watched it.
Just imagine if you watched this before you got mono, and then you forgot all about it, and you got to watch it again for the first time.
Oh, shame the devil. That would be horrible.
Why? You get to experience your new favorite movie twice in one
maybe I did.
lifetime.
I don't know.
Maybe you did. Maybe you saw this already.
Yeah,
Stuart
maybe.
Gordon wrote the script and was like,
Perfect.
All right. Yeah. So it's still
an A.
Still an A. Still an A.
Joseph, how you sound on it after our discussion?
still C minus.
Okay.
Yeah, very low C minus. As low as you can get.
Really, almost a D
before
plus.
D.
Any closing thoughts on it?
No, it's just it felt like by the end of it I was like, what did I watch? Why did I watch Other than being assigned to watch this, why did I watch this?
Wait, you're saying this didn't edify you in any way?
I am saying that it did not edify me in any way.
It's not a net positive to your life development.
No, and it's redeemed a little bit with the really campy, dumb dialogue and Tex being as dumb as he is, and and I don't know, just like the characters are more like how they acted was more interesting than like what the story was. And yeah, and the robots, they look like Gundam.
Yeah,
they look a lot
really
like,
thinking it was a Gundam.
they look a lot like Gundam.
Yeah.
All right, okay, so I'm a C minus,
Yeah.
an A. I'm gonna raise my grade a tiny bit. I'm gonna go up to just a solid C, right in the middle.
Okay.
And I think the biggest detriment to this is that the story on surface level is such a broad scale, and you have so much opportunity to do interesting thoughts with it, or interesting like directions of the plot.
Yeah.
You could do a lot with it, but they don't do fucking shit with it. You get a couple of cool robot fights, and then all the stuff in the middle, albeit moving towards, it's always marching towards the next big thing, is like the world seems like it could be so big, but it is absolutely small. They're always in the same bar. They're always in the same fucking room. They're in the little launch pad room or the little control room or whatever. It's like it seems like it all could have been done. We could have filmed this in my house.
They filmed this in one day.
Yeah, this room is the control room. The next one of the bedrooms is the actual bedroom with backlit paper walls on it or whatever. It just seems like such a small production. And then you get these cool shots of the stop motion, large scale miniature robot fights, which was cool. I like that. I liked when Athena's in the robot and they stop the elevator and they're like, we're going to stop her. She's not going to get up. And she climbs her ass out of there. I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that. But just too little too late. It wasn't not great. I did like them flying in space though. So, so C for me. And I think that's it. Now let's get to the Wheel of Destiny.
1 wheel, 8 slots, 3 hosts. This is the Wheel of Destiny.
All right, Robot Jocks off the wheel. Thank you, Joel, for that. I hope we gave it the proper treatment.
Yes.
I think so.
I don't think we tore it apart quite as bad as An Unfinished Life, but to be fair,
that one was
An Unfinished Life was fucking terrible.
Yes, it was.
This was not absolutely terrible. It was just a little terrible.
Oh yeah, it was. It had.
Good.
I mean, if An Unfinished Life had fighting robots in it, it would be objectively better.
You know what?
Feels like
Not wrong.
Bicentennial Unfinished Life.
It could be instead of having a 7.0 on IMDb, which is absolutely ludicrous.
Yeah.
it would be like a 9.9.
Yeah.
Okay, we are back at the top of our Patreon list. Some of the newer listeners, some newer members, like Dan, he's got a movie that's coming up, but we're gonna pepper him in with some of the original ones. So we have the next movie that's going to be on list is from the OG Patreon member, Javier. And he's having us review a new movie from, what's his name? Matt, I can't remember the writer-director's name. Yeah, Matt Damon. This is Blackberry.
Blackberry.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's with Glenn Howerton.
Glenn Howerton. I can't remember the guy's name. Matt something.
Did we watch the movie or the show version of the movie?
I was just going to say, I've already seen the movie, so I think I'm going to watch the show version. And then we can
I
maybe.
didn't even know there was a show.
Yeah, they broke it up. It was one of my news stories.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention.
It was literally like a month ago.
A month ago? Come on. You know who I am as a person.
That's true. Okay. So they broke it up into 3 or 4 parts for Hulu. I'll probably watch that and then we can.
Is it just extended?
There's more information. There's more like footage in there. So anyways, I'm going to recap, and we are now off of the Patreon only.
We're back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Back to the wheel. Full wheel. We have Hard Ticket to Hawaii from Pete. Rocket Man. Not the
Elton John
biopic. Not that one. The fun one. Mr. and Mrs. Smith from Tyler. American History X from Tyler.
Yes.
Howard the Duck from Joseph.
Yes.
Stalker from Joseph. Frankenhooker from Patreon, Andrew Martin. And Blackberry from Patreon, Javier. Let's give us a spin. This is what we watch next week.
What is it?
I'm gonna call that Stalker.
Okay.
Stalker.
Stalker.
I've been meaning to check out this movie. It's
Okay.
free on YouTube too.
We are going from the absolute gem of robot jocks to the terrible piece of shit Stalker.
Oh yeah, it's even worse.
Yeah.
8.1 out of 10 IMDb.
Wow, that's a high rating.
1979, Andrei Tarkovsky directed Stalker, and one sentence synopsis. I don't know anything about this movie. A guide leads two men through an area known as the Zone to find a room that grants wishes.
Okay.
And I only know this movie from its iconic screen, like a frame from the movie, where he looks like the guy, and it's on the poster for IMDb. The guy who's standing looks like in a bunch of little mounds of sand.
Oh, yeah.
In this concrete room with pillars and stuff. And that's really the extent of anything I've seen from this movie. So this will be a totally new experience for me. I don't think any of
I've never seen it.
us have seen this movie.
I was actually about to watch it before you stream picked it, and then you stream picked it, and I was like, ah, Christ, I'm just gonna wait.
You mean I put it on the wheel?
Or sorry, put it on the wheel.
I want to say that this is tied with the highest rated movie from Tarkovsky, also with Andrei Rublev from 1966, also 8.1, then Solaris 8.0, and Mirror 8.0 as well.
Okay.
Ivan's Childhood 8.0. The dude makes bangers.
So he's pretty good.
He's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this is probably gonna be art house.
Yeah.
Very
probably
film bro-y.
2 hours and 42 minutes.
2:42. All right.
Yep. Streaming on Max.
Cool.
So
And Criterion Channel
for everyone.
and Linda.
And you can just watch it on YouTube as well.
But you shouldn't if you have Max.
Yeah.
Because for the people who don't have either one of those though. So Tyler, don't you watch on YouTube.
Why?
You're gonna get a low compressed, shitty upload versus the high quality streaming service that you pay for.
No, it's all right, fine. All right.
I wonder, is it like a 480p? Like,
I don't know.
It's shot on a Samsung smart fridge.
It's like it was shot on a droid.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's next week.
Cool. The inspiration for the story of Annihilation.
Is it?
Yeah.
How sure are you on that? We don't know. How sure are you on it?
85% sure.
So you don't know.
Yeah, so 50-50.
No, it's not 50-50. I said 85% sure.
So you don't know. Unless you're 100% sure, you don't know.
Okay, fine. Have it your way, Joseph.
Okay, cool. Anything else, fellas?
No, I think that's it.
All right. So thank you to the YouTube people who are still sticking with us. Thank you to everyone in the Twitch chat. Thank you to the OG podcast listeners out there. We really appreciate the support. And of course, thank you to our cool ass yard duties over on Patreon. That is Javier, Heather Sachs, Ryan Corbin, and Chris. If you want to support us on the Patreon, become a cool ass yard duty. We have one slot open, but membership starts as low as $2 a month to get on and $5 to get onto the wheel. Until next time. Thank you for joining us as we follow robot jocks, and that was an experience.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Follow us next week as we have another experience with Andrei Tarkovsky's Stalker. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/MCFC podcast, and send us an email, mcfcpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, and follow us on Instagram at Middle Class Film Class, and leave us a voicemail, why don't you, at 209-730-6010.
And follow us on Twitter at Podcast MCFC and on TikTok at Middle Class Film Class.
All right, we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
See ya.
Class dismissed.
I gotta get out of here. The bell doesn't dismiss you. I dismiss you.
You're free to go.
See you next week.
See you later. See you later.
That's a wrap.
Great show.